Good morning, everyone. I'll call to order the Friday meeting of the UW Board of Regents. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Regent Peterson.
Here.
Regent Atwell.
Here.
Regent Bechtel.
Here.
Regent Delgado.
Here.
Regent Grebe. Here. Regent Hall. Regent Jones. Regent Klein. Regent Manydeeds. Regent Mueller. Here. Regent Peterson. Here. Regent Plant. Regent Stanford Taylor. Regent Tiedemann. Regent Tyler. Here. Regent Walsh. Here. Regent Whitburn. Here. Regent Woodmansee. Here. We have a quorum.
And Regent Klein is here as well. Thank you. Before we consider items on today's agenda, are there board members who wish to declare any conflicts of interest with today's agenda? Regent Tyler.
.2.I regarding a contract between UW-Madison and Siemens.
Thank you. Regent Jones.
Yes, I'd also like to recuse myself from discussing or voting on any matter arising from the Business and Finance Committee Agenda Item 1.2G, UW-Madison Contractual Agreement with Pfizer, Inc.
Thank you. Other regents? Regent Whitburn.
I will not be voting on the contract for GE or for ExxonMobil.
Regent Whitburn. Regent Klein.
Yes, I will recuse myself from any contract with ExxonMobil.
Any other regents seeking a recusal? Oh, Regent Becker.
Yep.
My apologies.
I'll be recusing myself on any vote involving Pfizer as well.
Okay. Very good. Please recuse yourself. And Jess, you've recorded all those appropriately.
Yes.
Excellent. The minutes of the April 4th and 5th and May 23rd, 2019 Board of Regents meetings and the April 30th, 2019 Executive Committee meetings have been provided. May I have a motion to approve these minutes, please?
So move.
Thank you. Second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The report of the Wisconsin Technical College System has also been provided. Are there any comments or questions related to that report? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Vice President's report. And to lead off my report, I have an update on upcoming and ongoing chancellor searches. As President Cross noted yesterday, UW-Whitewater has a new chancellor, Dr. Dwight Watson. On behalf of the board, I too would like to extend my appreciation to Interim Chancellor Green for her work leading the campus through this transition. Thank you very much. I'd also like to recognize Regent Tracy Klein for leading the UW-Whitewater Search and Special Committee of the Regents. This was the first time we utilized the reformed administrative hiring procedures. The chemistry and the collegiality displayed by our full committee was outstanding. Regent Klein and her co-chair, Dr. Eric Compass, set that tone. And for that, I'm personally grateful for her leadership. So let's also recognize her. We're also progressing in our search process at UW-Stout to identify a successor to Chancellor Bob Meyer, who's stepping down in August. The Special Regents Committee, chaired by Regent Jason Plant, has now approved the Chancellor position profile, and the recruitment phase is officially underway. The target date for application is September 13th, after the university is back in session for the fall semester. You'll also recall that Patrick Guilfoy has agreed to serve as interim chancellor under a new chancellor and until they come on board, and we certainly thank him for his service. I'm sure Patrick's here too. Turning to one of the highlight events of any campus, last month the UW system institutions awarded more than 20,000 degrees at all levels, leading to a total of over 36,000 degrees awarded this year. I'm pleased to share that 2018-2019 will be the 7th consecutive year that UW institutions conferred more than 36,000 degrees to graduating students. These graduates are the workers, the next generation of leaders, the innovators that will define Wisconsin's economy and culture moving forward. And the education they received at one of our institutions will give them the tools to do so. So on behalf of the entire board, I congratulate our graduates and wish them great success. And with that, I will turn it over to President Cross for the President's report.
Good morning. I would like to add my congratulations to our new graduates. I've attended my 42 years in higher education a number of commencements, as you might imagine. It's always a great time, and either as a parent or as a presiding president or chancellor. So I extend my congratulations. As part of putting students first, I'm going to lead off my report with the student spotlight this morning. To our new regents, the intent of these regular presentations is to help us all better understand what it means to be a student on a UW campus, how they got here, why, what they're working on, and their hope for the future. Each student has their own unique story to tell, while at the same time they often have many shared experiences. The Student Spotlight is a chance to see the UW from their perspective and to remind all of us why we are here. With that, I'm pleased to introduce Alyssa Malinsky, an early childhood education major at UW-Milwaukee, who expects to receive her degree this coming December. Alyssa, who grew up in Menominee Falls, comes from a family of educators and is proud to carry on that tradition. She intends to work in an area of greatest need, likely as a kindergarten or first grade teacher or as an English and second language teacher. This past spring, she did her field work in a South Milwaukee elementary school. Alyssa also served as president of UWM's Student Association this past year. So she's been very engaged in campus issues and concerns. I should also point out that Alyssa was recently recognized by the Milwaukee Bucks for her leadership. So please join me in welcoming Alyssa Malinsky. Alyssa.
Hi, it is so great to be here today. First, I would like to thank Ray Cross for his kind introduction. I want to start by telling you about the Advancing Teachers and School Leaders Initiative and what happened when the initiative came to the Goldemeyer Library at UWM. This experience was representative of my time at UW-Milwaukee and how I view the UW system. Starting with the idea behind it, this initiative is based on the idea that teachers are the ones who know best about teaching. An idea that has been attacked for years, but is true, and I believe the UW system recognizes to be true. The UW system went from campus to campus, hosting open forums just to listen to people who best know the profession. I have wanted to be a teacher for as long as I can remember. I'm an early childhood education major, with student teaching being the only thing between me and graduation. Events like the ATSL initiative gave me a voice, something that I've always tried to have during my time at UWM. I was able to use this platform and my experience within the UWM School of Education and our Milwaukee Public Schools to advocate for something that I feel strongly about, specifically education surrounding trauma-informed care and training for our teachers. Advocacy was a very important aspect of my time at UWM. I was the Student Association President this past year, and it was a remarkable year that truly gave me a full experience of what it's like to be involved at UWM. Representing students and working closely with administration to make real changes on this campus is rewarding. Take a look around you. This building that we are in was the subject of conversation because it is one of the most important buildings on our campus. The students care about it, and it needs renovations. These are the type of things that we have the chance to advocate for, and in April, I was able to speak before the Joint Finance Committee about our support for the full funding of this building's renovation. Doing things like that during my time at UWM has really allowed me to show the impact that I can have, and it's really contributed to my experience as a student. So again, I would like to say thank you to the administration at UW-Milwaukee for selecting me as a student to spotlight. Again, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak before all of you, and I'm excited for the future of the UW system and the future of our Wisconsin teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. I think I speak for all of us. I don't have any kids in kindergarten anymore or in first grade, but I do have grandkids in that area. I think we would all like for them to have a teacher like you. So we wish you all the best, Alyssa. Now for some news from around the system.
Over 1,200 Milwaukee area employers are giving students real-world experiences, helping to expand their skill sets and make important connections. By the time they graduate, nearly 80% of UW-Milwaukee students complete an invaluable internship or work-study program. UW-Whitewater student Cameron Kudnahowski unearthed 3 1,000-year-old Anglo-Saxon skeletons on an archaeological dig in England. Kudnahowski, a future teacher, said, "You study history in books, but this experience, literally putting the pieces of these people together and searching for their story, brings history alive." More than 120 students from across UW-Oshkosh campuses shared creative and scientific projects at the 26th Annual Celebration of Scholarship. The event includes oral and poster presentations, art exhibits, and performances which help students hone invaluable skills that contribute to their personal and professional development. UW Superior Legal Studies and Criminal Justice programs held a senior experience celebration on May 1st. This allowed the 18 graduating seniors a chance to share and celebrate their capstone experiences. Several students also talked about jobs they found prior to graduation. More than 140 UW Parkside alumni are making invaluable contributions to CNH Industrial, a global leader in the capital goods sector. Emilio Ruffalo manages machining and transmission operations at their Racine tractor plant. At other Racine sites, Tammy Knudsen delivers communications for employee awareness and engagement, while Bobby Dyer develops and implements employee benefit plans. Brent Coulthart inspired other veterans and students when he graduated May 4th from UW Stout. Out of money, he dropped out of college a decade ago in Minnesota, then served 5 years in the Marines as a helicopter mechanic. Using military and disabled veteran benefits, he returned to school and overcame dyslexia with on-campus support to earn a degree in business administration. Lucas Hintz is building a career out of service to others. Starting with a GED and associate degree in radiology tech, Hintz is now earning his second associate degree from UW-Stevens Point at Wausau and has been given the 2019 Samuel Weiner Award for Academic Excellence. This fall, Hintz will attend UW-Stevens Point's main campus to pursue a bachelor's degree in biochemistry or biology with hopes of becoming a physician. Lindsay Murray is the first graduate in UW River Falls' new agricultural engineering program. Named the 2019 Agricultural Engineering Undergraduate Student of the Year, this McNair Scholar is not only being acknowledged for her academic excellence, but also her extracurricular activities and invaluable contributions as a researcher and volunteer. UW Platteville Richland non-traditional student Chris Heineck is documenting his father's life, which was dedicated to preserving prehistoric Native American culture. Heineck has painstakingly archived and digitized the quarterly journal Prehistoric American, which his father edited for many years. Heineck shared his research at UW System's 16th Annual Research in the Rotunda in April. UW-Madison's School of Nursing marked the first graduates of its new Accelerated Bachelor's of Science in Nursing program. 32 students graduated from the one-year program that offers a second chance for adults who already have a bachelor's degree and are seeking a satisfying, well-paying job. It is part of a full-court press by the School of Nursing to tackle a shortage of nurses in Wisconsin. UW-La Crosse spring graduate Janelle Copa spent commencement weekend competing on the NBC TV series American Ninja Warrior. What Copa likes best about ninja training is setting goals and achieving dreams. That's something this early childhood education major plans to share with her students as she pursues a teaching career. UW Green Bay and the UW system have named Aaron Kennedy, founder and CEO for Noodles & Company, to be the first entrepreneur in residence at Titletown Tech. With his experience as a global entrepreneur who has built brands, companies, and movements, he will be an invaluable asset in Titletown Tech's mission of bringing world-class digital innovation and expertise to the region. UW-Eau Claire sets students up for success by teaching skills that help them stand out in the real world. With nearly 8 out of 10 students participating in a job-related experience as part of their education, it's no wonder many students land positions before they have a diploma in hand. What's more, 97% of UW-Eau Claire students have jobs within 8 months of graduation. U.S. Army veteran Justin Rathkamp realized his dream to help fellow veterans after a career change to healthcare. This busy husband and father appreciated the flexibility offered by a UW Extended Campus online degree program. Hired as the Veterans Experience Officer at Madison's VA Hospital, Rathkamp now enjoys evenings and weekends with his family. SBIR Ready is an immersion program for small business innovation research offered by the Center for Technology Commercialization, part of UW Systems Institute for Business and Entrepreneurship. SBIR Ready is running a boot camp this month to give early career scientists and faculty the skills they need to make a business case for their innovative ideas. Research solves problems. Being ready to commercialize it, invaluable.
Well, as you can see, there are a number of things happening on our campuses, all for the benefit and to improve this, and to help meet the needs of this state. So turning now to some updates, this past month I had the opportunity to meet with shared governance groups from throughout the system. We're trying to find ways to appropriately engage shared governance groups at the system level. I'm pleased to report these meetings have been productive, and I look forward to building on these conversations going forward. Turning to legislative updates, let me start with the federal front first. The House Appropriations Committee is now considering all of the fiscal 2020 spending bills. The Labor HHS Education Bill increases funding for federal Pell Grants, federal Supplemental Education Opportunity Grants, the federal Work Study and TRIO programs. The committee is also advancing a number of appropriation bills that increase funding for federal research agencies important to the UW. It is anticipated that the bills will be on the House floor for consideration before the end of June. In the meantime, the Senate is expected to begin moving appropriation bills in mid-June. Wisconsin and the UW system are fortunate to have representation on both the Senate and House Appropriation Committees who keep watch over the programs and funding priorities that are important to us. Both the House Education and Labor Committee and the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee have held hearings on the reauthorization of the Higher Education Act. We continue to work with our delegation around the issues of student loan debt, simplification of the FAFSA, the introduction of competency-based education legislation, and finding a replacement solution for the federal Perkins Loan Program. We will keep you apprised of further developments. On the state front, our attention continues to center on the budget process. Like you didn't know that. As stated yesterday, our top priority at this juncture is to continue to advocate for an operating budget that supports the vital work that we do, some of which you saw today. We are also focused on securing a reasonable and solid capital budget. Our capital request provides real solutions to workforce issues, to increasing wages, and to attracting and retaining graduates. To successfully do that, students and employers reasonably expect modern classrooms that provide an active, not passive, but active instruction and opportunities to engage in productive research. This will require investments in renovation and repairs. You simply cannot run a chemistry lab out of your kitchen or in classrooms that are over 100 years old. These issues plague us throughout the system, and while our capital budget request is historically large, now is the time to repair and renovate aging classrooms and buildings. Without a strong capital budget, we increase a number of risk factors. First, safety. Systems are antiquated and beyond their reasonable lifespans. Nearly all of our request is for repair and renovation. Over 60% of the UW system physical infrastructure is between 45 and 70 years old. These buildings are showing their age. Some of them are even older than I am. Another risk is driving up costs. Our maintenance backlog is piling up, and it's over $1.5 billion at Madison alone. It's over $1.5 billion at Madison alone. Kicking the can down the road is fiscally irresponsible. Finally, our ability to compete for talented students and faculty is also at risk. To attract and retain talent, both in students and in faculty, and support Wisconsin's talent pipeline, we need reinvestment in our classrooms and laboratories. To put our request in context, remember that as the largest owner of physical space in the state, let me repeat that, as the largest owner of physical space in the state, the UW system's request applies to just 8% of our total portfolio. Our focus is on investing in STEM projects across the system to meet the state's biggest needs. The legislature has an opportunity to meet Wisconsin's workforce demands by approving UW system projects that will ensure students, faculty, and staff have a safe and productive environment. And we will continue to advocate with lawmakers to clearly spell out these needs and their urgency and this opportunity. That concludes my report, Vice President Peterson.
Thank you, President Cross. At this time, let's move to item agenda number 5, committee reports. I'll now call upon Regent Mark Tyler to present our first report, the Research, Economic Development, and Innovation Committee report. Mark.
Thank you, Vice President Peterson. I'm providing this report on behalf of Dr. Eve Hall, who chaired yesterday's meeting but was unable to join us today. Following approval of the minutes, we heard presentations by the WISIS leadership and from UWM Chancellor Mike Money and Vice Chancellor Joan Prince. The first presentation by WISIS focused on reporting on faculty and undergraduate research, technology transfer, and commercialization initiatives. WISIS President Arjun Sangha and WISIS Regional and Licensing Associate Tony Hansen highlighted a wide and growing range of successful campus initiatives. Arjun said that WISIS ambassadors are visible and active on one or more of the campuses essentially every day of the week. Over the past year, for example, WISIS regional associates have made 65 formal presentations, held 325 separate meetings, and led 42 quick pick events for students. Over the past 5 years, invention disclosures on our comprehensive campuses have increased from about one a month in 2014 to more than one a week in 2019. Importantly, these are the disclosures that are leading to product commercialization and taking ideas from the lab into the real world. The READY Committee also heard from UW-Platteville student representing a team that has invented an innovative rock climbing device. With WISIS help, it'll be patented and licensed for sale through one or more outdoor retailers. Our second presentation was a UWM student panel with a focus on preparing students for jobs of the future in an increasing diverse marketplace. UWM Chancellor Mark Money and Vice Chancellor Joan Prince led a panel highlighting how UWM prepares underrepresented students to succeed in STEM majors and STEM-related internships. This happens through the WisCamp STEM Inspire comprehensive program that improves the recruitment, retention, and graduation of underrepresented minority students at UWM. Its operation in the Division of Global Inclusion and Engagement began in 2012-13. The various components of this program include the provision of year-round support services, career development events, professional development, research and internship and leadership opportunities, and develops meaningful relationships between faculty and peer mentors. We had an opportunity to hear from an inspiring panel of students that are currently involved in summer internships, and they describe their experiences. I want to take a break off the script here for a minute. We oftentimes hear about describing our students as inspiring. These three young women were, had the group nearly in tears based on the impact that this program's had and the progress that they've made. So I want to say these truly were inspiring stories and differentiate that from the commonly used word. So back to the script. Chancellor Mone said the program helps close the achievement gap and helps fill the talent pipeline. Vice Chancellor Prince said that UWN began the program in 2012 with National Science Foundation funding, and today has the largest number of students in this program nationally and the largest number of graduates. Program Director Anik Ruiz introduced the impressive, that word again, student peer mentors. Faculty mentor Arjit Sen commented on how these students inspire others, and both faculty members and fellow students. In closing, Mark Mone highlighted the importance of the program's advising and peer mentor support and its ultimate outcomes of helping underrepresented students find the right pathways from the classroom to career success. We adjourned at just before noon for a healthy and yet delicious lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Tyler. I'll now call on Regent Greeby to provide an update on actions taken in the Audit Committee.
And I'll provide my report on the Audit Committee and also the Joint Audit and Business Finance Committee. The Audit Committee met yesterday morning and we had a full agenda. Our Chief Audit Executive, Lori Stortz, briefly reviewed the progress to date on the fiscal year 2019 Audit Plan, confirming that with the exception of one item that had been previously discussed with the committee, all scheduled audits are scheduled to be completed. Lori also discussed the proposed fiscal year 2020 audit plan, describing the process to develop that plan, which we appreciated as being appropriately inclusive of various constituencies, and the rationale behind identifying those items to focus on in fiscal year 2020. In particular, we favorably noted the continuing and increasing interplay among the audit function and the compliance, risk, and legal functions, which helped inform the creation of the audit plan. That is a very good process and will help create an even stronger audit function and better protect the interests of the system. The 2020 audit plan was approved unanimously by the committee. I would take a moment now to move Resolution 15B2, approval of the fiscal year 2020 audit plan.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you. Lori also provided a summary of a recently issued best practices letter associated with the system audit of hazardous and universal waste. She expects to provide additional audit reports at our October Audit Committee meeting. She then discussed the status of the system security and access audits and described some emerging themes. 11 reports have been issued, 3 are in the field. The auditors and management at our institutions continue to make good progress, and Lori and her team are developing a good sense of the areas of existing risk. We then engaged in a very good and important discussion about protecting the integrity of the UW-Madison admissions process. All of us are undoubtedly aware of the so-called varsity blues scandal related to the corruption of the admissions process at schools including USC and a number of other high-profile institutions. Chancellor Blank and her team graciously accepted our invitation to discuss UW-Madison's admission processes and safeguards in light of that scandal. To reiterate something that has been said before but is still very important, when we asked for this report, we had no reason to believe or suspect that UW-Madison was involved in or at risk of being involved in any of the types of misconduct that has been reported elsewhere. And following our meeting, we continue to have no reason for any such belief or suspicion. Chancellor Blank, Vice Provost for Enrollment Management Stephen Hahn, and Deputy Athletic Director Chris McIntosh provided us with a substantial review of the procedures, controls, and training that have contributed to Madison's propriety and success in this area, including a fulsome description of the role that athletics does and does not play in the admissions process. The committee and the team from UW-Madison had a very good back and forth discussion of this topic, and we're grateful for that. Following that discussion, we addressed the system-wide enterprise risk management project. Ruth Anderson, our Associate Vice President of Administrative Services, and Angela Ryan, our Director of Risk Management, shared an update on the progress of the System Enterprise Risk Committee. They reported that for fiscal year 2020, the committee will focus on mitigation strategies for 4 risks: cybersecurity, data availability, physical safety and security, and Title IX. Finally, Katie Ignatowski, the UW System Director of Compliance, introduced Sarah Haribo as the system's new Title IX and Clery Administrator. Katie also provided an update regarding the development of her compliance work plan, which she expects to present to the committee in October. That concludes my Audit Committee report. We also held a meeting of the Joint Audit and Business Finance Committee yesterday, which focused primarily on our external audit, which will be conducted again this year by Plant Moran, as well as a discussion of certain aspects of the recent LAB audit. Vicki Vandenberg and Michael Baker from Plant Moran briefed the Joint Committee on their legislatively mandated fiscal year 2019 external audit engagement. They included a description of their audit approach and a summary of timing and key dates. We also discussed their communications protocols, including the interaction between Plant Moran, the board, primarily through the Joint Committee, management, and the LIB. Using a risk-based appraisal, they've looked at account processes, controls, and internal audits to identify the highest risks, particularly those involving high-dollar and high-volume transactions, which will inform their audit processes. Plant Moran will now begin performing the audit, and when the audit is completed, will return in December to discuss their findings with the Joint Committee. Next, Vice President for Finance Sean Nelson and Associate Vice President for Capital Planning and Budget Alex Rowe presented on foundations and other affiliated organizations within the UW system in response to recent Legislative Audit Bureau reports. These organizations advance the UW system and its institutions, promoting them to varied audiences, and may provide aid through scholarships, research funding, capital investments, and other general support, easing the burden on taxpayers and students. They are important to us. Sean and Alex focused on 3 areas. 1, communication and training by the UW system and the Board of Regents to improve the management and transparency of our relationships with primary fundraising foundations, real estate foundations, and other affiliated organizations. 2, the governing policies for those organizations. And 3, the nature and extent of appropriate oversight responsibilities of the UW system, the Board of Regents, and our institutions. The Joint Committee engaged in an in-depth discussion of the nature of the LAB comments, the system's response, and next steps. Sean and Alex were joined by General Counsel Quinn Williams to discuss a related set of proposed changes to Appendix A of Regent Policy Document 21-9. Those changes would clarify the UW system's responsibilities for review of financial submittals by foundations to institutions, and the UW systems and the Board of Regents oversight, and also address the appropriate level of Regent review and approval of foundation real estate projects. After discussion and a series of questions from Joint Committee members, we moved to table this item for future consideration at our July meeting. Due to time constraints, Vice President Nelson's summary of the system's responses to other aspects of the recently received LAB fiscal year 2017-2018 financial audit were not covered, and we asked him to return in July or at a later meeting to provide that overview and respond to questions from the Joint Committee. That concludes my report of the Joint Audit and Business and Finance Committee.
Thank you, Regent Grebe, for a very full report. I'll now call upon Regent Whitburn to present the actions taken by the Business and Finance Committee. Regent Whitburn.
Thank you, Regent Peterson. The committee received an excellent briefing from UWM Vice Chancellor Robin Van Harpen as she and her team worked to ensure financial stability at the campus at a time of much change and, of course, limited resources. We have very, very interesting dynamics at UWM, particularly around SEG fees. SEG fees here are higher than elsewhere in the system. We have an urban campus. As a result, we have transit and bus passes, high utilization, to a degree that would not be true in most of the other campuses. Students here tend to be older, As a result, contributions to child care more prevalent. But then we have 1,000 veterans here, more veterans than on other campuses, yet veterans pay no seg fees. So we have the economics of balancing. Robin reports a balanced budget, and we were also happy to hear about what she termed all hands-on-deck attitude these days at UWM in stepping up to the challenges of IT security. The committee approved a number of contracts for new regents whenever a campus enters into a financial agreement with a for-profit organization and the anticipated sum of the relationship exceeds $1 million. The Board of Regents must approve. That way we know who we're doing business with. For lacrosse, we approved a contract with Follett Higher Education Group to handle their bookstore and textbook rental services for up to 7 years. For UW-Stevens Point, also a contract for up to 7 years for bookstore and textbook rentals, this time with Barnes & Noble's campus entity, Barnes & Noble College. For UW-Madison, we approved 4 different contracts, one in engineering and the others for the medical school. ExxonMobil's research and engineering company is joining our Department of Chemical and Biological Engineering to extend the previously approved agreement to, among other things, research potential conversion of ethanol to distillate fuels. The committee approved the continuation of an ongoing research relationship with General Electric Precision Healthcare. The research will allow improvements to the capabilities of CT imaging using artificial intelligence. And we also approved a contract and agreement with Siemens Medical Solutions, under which 2 research projects will be undertaken in the Department of Medical Physics, Radiology, and Medicine. Also, for the School of Medicine and Public Health at Madison, the committee approved a contract with Pfizer around improved use of ultrasound in the diagnosis and treatment of patients with certain serious liver diseases. If the work of this project exceeds 5 years, they will come back to the committee and the Regents for approval of an extension. The committee was briefed by Sean Nelson and staff coming down from Madison from SWIB concerning the market performance of our $582 million portfolio during the first quarter of this year. Our long-term fund, where the majority of the funds reside, was up 7.13% in the quarter, squaring nicely with the results of the benchmark. As you may recall, we have a very large project in our future, upgrading our shared financial and human resources systems. The recruitment of a lead program executive has been accomplished, and the full board will receive a briefing on this very large multi-year initiative in our July meeting. The committee received a briefing on Catherine Mayer's ongoing efforts to lead the strengthening of our IT security platform. Interestingly, this next month, several campuses will be involved in the project that she's leading, under which we'll have an enterprise-wide incident response tabletop exercise. This will be new for the campuses. I have several conflicts with several of these contracts, and as a result, Vice Chairman Regent Atwell will move the 6 resolutions that we approved.
We'll be moving them as a group or individually? Individually. So I move motions 1.2D and 1.2E, which pertain to the bookstore contracts.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Resolution 1.2F regarding UW-Madison contractual agreement with ExxonMobil. I move that.
Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any abstentions?
I move Resolution 12G regarding UW-Madison contractual agreement with Pfizer, Inc.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move Resolution 12K regarding UW-Madison's contractual agreement with GE Precision Healthcare, LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And I move UW-Madison contractual agreement with Siemens Medical Solutions USA, Inc., Resolution 1.2L.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I believe that's our last motion. Regent Whitburn, anything further? Thank you for your report. I'll now call on Regent Mike Jones to provide a report of the actions taken by the Education Committee.
Thank you, Regent. Vice President Peterson. Yesterday, the Education Committee meeting began with an update on the UW System Task Force for Advancing Teacher Education and School Leaders in Wisconsin. Presenting were co-chairs of the task force, Diana Hess, who is the Dean of the UW-Madison School of Education, and Deborah Kerr, who is the Superintendent of the Brown Deer School District. They highlighted the 3 listening sessions across the state of Wisconsin at which members of the task force received public input. They also described the quantitative and qualitative data upon which the task force will base its evidence-based report. This report will be presented to the Board of Regents on Friday, July 12, 2019. Next, the committee unanimously approved 6 degree programs. First, the committee approved a Master's of Science in Athletic Training at UW-Eau Claire. This degree program directly responds to accreditation requirements, and it will help ensure that the graduates are eligible for the athletic training certification examination. Second, UW-Madison received approval for a baccalaureate degree in Landscape and Urban Studies. This degree program resulted from the merger of 2 existing programs into a single program. Graduates will become urban and regional planners for both public and private agencies. Next, UW-Milwaukee received approval for 3 degree programs. These include a Master's of Science in Biostatistics, a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Engineering, and a Master of Arts in the teaching of English to speakers of other languages. Finally, UW-Oshkosh received approval for a Bachelor of Science in Education in Technology and Engineering Education. This program features a model partnership between UW-Oshkosh and the Fox Valley Technical College. Graduates will become technology and engineering education teachers all across the state of Wisconsin. Thereafter, the committee unanimously approved the 2019 report on faculty promotions, tenure designations, and other changes in status. In June of each year, the Board of Regents' approval is the final step in the demanding 6 to 7 year process by which our UW faculty are promoted to tenure. This year, our campuses and chancellors recommended 267 faculty members for tenure. We wish to congratulate each one of the UW faculty members listed in the report. Afterwards, the committee approved 2 resolutions relating to the restructuring of the UW colleges and UW Extension. These resolutions ensure the transfer of tenured UW Extension faculty to the UW-Madison Cooperative Extension. They also ensure the transfer of the UW colleges and UW Extension emeritus faculty and staff to the 7 receiving institutions. Next, the committee approved the proffer from the Vilas Trust Fund. This year, the Vilas trustees will provide more than $6 million to support professors, graduate students, and the arts and humanity programs at both UW-Madison and UW-Milwaukee. Thereafter, we received a status update on the UW System Math Initiative from Interim Vice President Karen Schmidt. This initiative is funded by a $2.3 million grant from the Great Lakes Foundation and by $1 million in funding and in-kind support from the UW system. Through the initiative, UW faculty and staff collaborate to increase student success during the first year of college by reducing time in developmental math courses, increasing completion rates in the first year math classes, and ensuring the seamless transfer of math courses credits across the system. Finally, UW-Milwaukee Provost Johannes Britz delivered a presentation regarding UW-Milwaukee's strategic investment to create an outstanding learning environment for all students. Therefore, I move Resolutions 1.1C through 1.1J for adoption by the board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the table. Any discussion? Regent Tyler.
I would just, as a representative from the technical colleges, I want to compliment UW-Oshkosh and their faculty and staff for working closely with Fox Valley Tech on this program. It promises to help fill a sorely needed pipeline of teachers. This program is essentially delivered half at Fox Valley Tech and half at UW-Oshkosh. And from the student's point of view, the cost of this bachelor's degree would be $12,000 to $15,000 less than a typical path. So I just want to express our appreciation and thank you for the collaboration.
Thank you, Regent Tyler. Any other discussion? Just a point of privilege, I would recognize Regent Tyler has been reappointed to the Wisconsin Technical College System Board, and we wish you well with your confirmation. You're clearly an evangelist for that system, and it serves them very, very well. So congratulations on that. We have a motion and second on the table, and I think no further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Regent Jones. I'll now call on Regent Klein to present us a report on the actions of the Capital Planning and Budget Committee.
Thank you, Vice President Peterson. The Capital Planning and Budget Committee met yesterday morning. The committee considered 7 resolutions, which I will move en masse. Item number 1, Resolution 1.3B, was brought by University of Wisconsin-Madison. It requests approval to amend the lease of 19,574 gross square feet of office space for the Wisconsin Ice Cube Particle Astrophysics Center, which operates the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory at the South Pole. Please note, the Scientific Center occupies space at 222 West Washington Avenue, but monitors the South Pole. Remaining at this location allows the center to continue to use a high-capacity, high-speed fiber network. And we would also note the lease amendment includes a new 5-year term and a decrease in base rental with an annual savings of $6,000. Resolution 1.3C was brought by University of Wisconsin Parkside, requesting approval to finish contract documents and construct Wiley Hall. This is a Phase 1 renovation project for $35.3 million. It updates the building's infrastructure and creates a fully integrated and accessible student services environment that supports academic success. It will be a learning commons that will be established on level D1 and L1 spaces, and we believe it's going to provide easy accessibility to student support services and really enhance retention on that campus. Please note the original Wiley Hall construction was 1972. Resolution 1.3D, brought by the UW system, involves renovating and technology improvements to various classrooms at a cost of $4.2 million. These classrooms are located at University of Wisconsin-Madison, River Falls, and Superior. This is the first kind of tranche of bringing some classrooms into much-needed technological improvements and compliance with the modern era. Resolution 1.3E, brought by University of Wisconsin System, is an all-agencies maintenance and repair project, estimated at $8.3 million. These projects include central heating plant fuel reliability upgrades at University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire and River Falls, a chiller replacement at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and rehab of a storm water detention pond at University of Wisconsin-Madison. Resolution 1.3F was brought by University of Wisconsin-Madison. It involves a UW-managed project for the kinesiology relocation project. It is a $12 million gift grant fund. It involves renovating 56,000 gross square feet in the basement and on the second floor of the medical science building. And this is needed because we will be renovating the NAT or rebuilding the NAT, and this space has to move. Again, this is a UW managed gift grant. Resolution 1.3G, brought by University of Wisconsin-Madison, is again a managed gift grant project. It is for the construction of engineering centers and materials science lab. And this project will renovate several labs within the engineering centers building and the materials sciences building for the College of Engineering. Resolution 1.3G, brought by University of Wisconsin-Madison, requests authority to increase the budget for a project we approved in February, which is the UW-managed biochemistry electron microscopes project, and we're increasing it by $450,000. This area remodels areas of the DeLuca Biochemistry Building to provide specialized space to accommodate a newly recruited faculty member and 2 new electron microscopes. With that, I would move the foregoing resolutions.
We have a motion on the table. Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion on these motions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And to conclude my report, I would just mention, first of all, we did review a report on UW System annual leasing, and we appreciate the efforts of our colleagues in audit and business affairs in terms of making all that much more transparent as it relates to foundation. We also reviewed a report of the UW managed capital projects, which again are gift grants. And the committee asked that in the future further details and metrics be provided so we can really track that, because we think in this era of fiscal austerity it's important to know where we're raising money and how effective we are in deploying those assets. Last but not least, we received an excellent report by Vice Chancellor Robin Van Harpen from UWM and discussing our infrastructure needs, and I would echo comments made by President Cross regarding needing to look at the infrastructure, modern classrooms, and investing in our facilities, and the committee will be working with UW System to ensure that we've got better eyes on that. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Regent Klein, and thank you to all for your committee reports. At this point in time, let's move on to item 11, presentation of the Board of Regents 2019 Academic Staff Excellence Awards. At this time, we get the opportunity to remind ourselves of the outstanding work being done by academic staff across the UW system. There's more than 14,000 academic staff throughout the system, the university's largest sector of employees. This morning, we will honor the recipients of the 2019 Regent Academic Staff Excellence Awards. To lead us in the awards presentation, let me turn things over to my colleague, Regent Jan Mueller, Chair of the Awards Selection Committee. Good morning, Regent Mueller.
Good morning. It is indeed with great pleasure that we welcome here today the recipients of this year's Academic Staff Excellence Awards. With these awards, we salute the hard work, the dedication, and the innovative thinking of our talented academic staff members. Today, we are honored to recognize 2 individuals and 1 program. Their outstanding contributions, along with the work of all academic staff statewide, strengthen and invigorate not only the institutions where they serve, but the communities in which they live. Chairing the selection committee is gratifying, but always, always challenging. The quality of the work, as referenced in the submissions, is outstanding. And thus, I greatly appreciate the time and efforts of my fellow members of the selection committee. I wish to thank Regent Robert Atwell, Regent Scott Bechtel, and Regent Drew Peterson for their dedication to this effort. Regent Bechtel will introduce the first award. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Mueller, and for your leadership as well. Who serves those who have served others? It is my privilege to present the first 2019 Board of Regents Academic Staff Excellence Award in the individual category to Elena Koltz, Financial Aid Advisor for UW Green Bay's Veteran Services. Elena is widely respected for her knowledge of complex veteran education benefits, as well as her dedication to helping students succeed. She assists UW-Green Bay's growing population of student veterans in a variety of ways. In 2002, when she first became the liaison between UW-Green Bay and U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, the campus had about 65 veterans. Today, that number has grown to more than 500 student veterans and their dependents who use VA benefits, which they have so richly deserved and earned. Those students rely on Elena's wealth of knowledge, her ability to keep up with the changes in state and federal regulations, and her genuine concern for their success and well-being in this next chapter of their lives. When veterans began returning from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, Elena helped UW-Green Bay expand its programming to better meet their needs, including forming and leading the campus-wide Veteran Support Team. She also helped implement a Veteran and Service Member Student Lounge. There, veterans can find resources and build relationships to support each other. The lounge is also the site of a monthly open house with invited representatives from organizations such as the Veteran Clinic, the Department of Workforce Development, Veteran Loan Assistance, and other agencies and friends. In the wider community, Elena is president of the Northeast Wisconsin, or NEW, Battalion Bravo Company, which helps to develop veteran sponsors who connect veterans with community resources. And she's currently working to bring UW-Green Bay the Vet Success on Campus program that's sponsored by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. This would be only the second such program here in the state of Wisconsin. One colleague describes Elena, our honoree, this way. Elena has touched so many lives in helping veteran students and their families, and her positive attitude has influenced professionals across the state and region, unquote. With that, I am honored to present our first Academic Staff Excellence Award to Elena Colts of the UW-Green Bay. Elena?
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me here, and my husband, Gary. I have to say thank you to him for driving me here. Thank you so much for this award. I'm honored and I'm humbled. I was told I would have a few minutes to mention what I think takes to be an outstanding staff member. I will tell you, I certainly could not have done it by myself. Like I said, thank you to my husband. He's my support at home. I have been blessed to have strong leadership support from UW-Green Bay. Chancellor Gary Miller, Vice Chancellor Cheryl Van Gruens-Venz, and my boss and Financial Aid Director Jim Rohan. We also had some special people at UW-Green Bay who help support our veterans on campus. Craig Dickman and his wife Karen have supported us through the many years that I've been there. Craig is he's a benefactor for our vet lounge. He's also the father of a Navy SEAL. So this award reflects not only me, but others in my financial aid office, like Sue Stino, who's with us here today, Laura Sinclair, Christina Thill, Alan Volker, and especially Jamie Haslam. Jamie is the reason I can take vacation. When it comes to solving veteran issues, we work together. She deserves this award just as much as I do. We bounce ideas and problems off each other and try to make sense of the inconsistencies or gray areas of working with the state and federal government. I would like to tell you about a few programs that are in the works. The first is from Professor Ray Hutchison, who serves on the Veteran Support Team. He put together ComSci 148. It's a one-credit course that will give incoming veterans an introduction to what to expect in the college environment. It'll give information about how to connect with university resources and local VA services, and how to develop skills to be successful in their academic work at the university. The courses at the GPS courses at UW Green Bay are designed to give incoming students an opportunity to explore academic programs and majors and minors available at the university. It helps them develop skills that will make them more successful in their college career and learn more about the university resources available to all students. This is done throughout assignments that focus on learning how to negotiate the campus environment, discussion of career counseling available at the university, and activities that explore expectations for coursework and development skills to make one successful in the community. The other the other program that I'm involved with is in the community. It's called Bravo Company. Bravo Company Northeast Wisconsin Battalion. And the reason that we brought this program to the community, its purpose is to provide recently returned servicemen and women in Northeast Wisconsin a sponsor or a guide to help them eliminate any frustration they encounter when returning to the civilian life. We have trained volunteer sponsors who will help guide these veterans to the many services in the area. Also, every year, veteran services at each school invite community veterans resources to campus. I think all of our UW campuses do that. Last Veterans Day, with the help of our Student Veteran Club, we put on a well-attended Veteran Benefit Forum. We brought in 35 veteran resources from the community and had the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 351 from Appleton, bring their awesome Vietnam display. After that successful program, it was decided to put our efforts together and see if we can reach more veterans. So school certifying officials from NWTC, Fox Valley Tech, Concordia, and St. Norbert began planning the next year's forum together. We call it Coalition for Whole Health. It's a program that will focus on the health of veterans, dependents, and the caretakers. It will include dynamic speakers on the topics of Agent Orange, burn pits, PTSD, and other related health issues. We want those that take care of our veterans to have the resources to help take care of them with the health issues. It will take place April 24th and 25th at the Mark in De Pere. The military taught me how to be a leader and a team member. What is meant to me is known as what my strengths and weaknesses are, and what the strengths and weaknesses are of those around me, and then use this knowledge to the benefit of the mission. I am not much of a speaker, but I would like to leave you with this quote from Army nurse Allison Lighthall. Student veterans are one of America's greatest untapped human resources. They are emotionally mature, goal-oriented, mission-driven, experienced leaders. They work tirelessly to achieve their objectives and look for ways to make meaningful contributions. They're self-sufficient. They'll only ask questions when they cannot find the answers themselves. And they not only understand the concept of sacrifice for the greater good, they've lived it. They are respectful and protective of those around them. They think globally and bypass most things trivial or trendy. In short, they are the kind of role models we need on our campuses and graduating to lives of fulfillment in our workplaces. So in closing, I'd like to say thank you again. Thank you to the President. Thank you for your service also, sir. And have a great morning.
Good morning. People ask me frequently, what's it like to be a regent? And I invariably say the best part about it is the admirable and inspiring people that we get to encounter, the students, the faculty, and the staff. Our second Academic Excellence Award in the individual category goes to Mark Klopich. He's the Sustainability and Custodial Supervisor in the Sustainability Facilities Management area of UW River Falls. Mark oversees a staff of 17 full-time employees and 60 to 70 part-time student employees. Among his responsibilities, he tracks sustainability initiatives, facilitates reports, presents in classes, mentors student volunteers and student organizations, works with all campus departments, and manages efforts to recycle and minimize waste. He serves as chair of the university's Sustainability Working Group and works with the Sustainability Faculty Fellows Committee to support and improve sustainability within the curriculum. One of their achievements includes the recently created Sustainable Justice minor. It's available to all students on campus. Together with another supervisor, Mark started a campus surplus program which annually diverts over 100,000 pounds of furniture and other materials from landfills, while offering students and community members affordable items. For the past 3 years, Mark has facilitated the completion of the Sustainability Tracking, Assessment, and Rating System Report, known as the STARS Report, from the Association of Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. His leadership and his ability to engage others is credited for the campus receiving a gold rating in 2018 after receiving a Silver Stars assessment in previous years. He has also organized a variety of events, including the Office of Sustainability Open House, We Bike River Falls Community Rides, food waste audits, film showings, and a sustainability fair. A colleague made this observation, quote, "Mark effectively balances a large variety of projects, supervisory roles, and committee work, and is always willing to take on more because he is genuinely invested in making the institution better." I have a special appreciation for people who know how to think big, mobilize people to work together on important things, and then actually roll up their sleeves and do the work, which is often physically demanding. And on that note, I am deeply honored to present our second Academic Staff Excellence Award to Mark Klopich of UW River Falls.
Well, thank you. It's not too often I wear a suit. I think this is the second time in my 10 years at UW River Falls. I debated wearing my Keep Calm and Recycle On t-shirt, but I figured I would dress up for this occasion. I'm incredibly humbled and honored to be here today to accept this award. I really could not do it without the support of so many people that I will highlight a little bit later on, but I want to start off with a quote. Yesterday on my drive here, I was listening to an audiobook, and there was one quote that stood out to me, and it's, "If you leave your growth to randomness, you will always live in the land of mediocrity." And that really got me reflecting on my decision to work at UW River Falls, and even beyond that to attend UW River Falls for my undergraduate degree. So about 16 years ago, I was a senior in high school, had no idea what I wanted to do, no idea where I wanted to go, and I toured UW River Falls and ultimately decided that that's where I wanted to go. So I went to UW River Falls in the fall of 2005, and my major at the time was undecided. Still had no idea what I wanted to do. Over time, I declared my major as business administration with a management emphasis, and during that time, I also worked several positions on campus in multiple buildings in a variety of areas. But the student position that I enjoyed the most was working in our university center, which opened in January of 2007, and it was a very sustainable building. So this was my first glimpse into both facilities management, really, and also sustainability, which then became, as you all know, part of my position later on. Upon my graduation at UW River Falls, I was fortunate enough to be hired full-time as a custodial services supervisor. At that time, I was 22 years old, and I was supervising employees that were 36 years old to 72 years old. It was a challenging position. So, during that time, I also started taking over our refuse and recycling contracts for campus and getting more involved with diverting items from landfills. As mentioned, I started the surplus property program with another supervisor, Nate Beeman, and then during that time, I also got a master's degree in organizational leadership. So I often joke that my home away from home is not UW River Falls, but more specifically, it's in the dumpsters at UW River Falls. So on move-in day, I'm often found in the dumpsters with a crew of volunteers, making sure that items are being disposed of properly and that the cardboard is all being broken down. Move out, the same thing happens. We make sure we're getting in dumpsters and pulling out any items that can be donated. So for the last 3 years, I've been in the split position of sustainability and custodial supervisor. During that time, as mentioned, I've taken on a variety of committee appointments, leadership roles. I was also presenting in several classes, giving sustainability tours of our campus. So at one point, an opportunity arose to actually start teaching in our honors program. So for the past 2 years, I've been teaching 1 to 2 courses a semester in our honors program where sustainability is one of the 5 core competencies. Needless to say that working on a college campus is full of challenges. From budgets to staffing to all of the other things, we have our fair share of challenges. In the world of sustainability, we focus on a variety of things, very encompassing of many of the things that we do. We look at diversity, affordability, economic, social, and environmental components, as well as our academics, our operations, our engagement, and planning and administration. If you're familiar with the STARS report, you might have recognized that some of those are the themes in the reporting sections. The work of sustainability, and often everything that we do on a college campus, is never ending. We have a variety of things that we're constantly trying to improve, and if I could summarize my position in one kind of sentence, I would say that my job is continuous improvement. How can we provide a better education for our students? How can we make sure our operations are operating more efficiently? And how can we make sure that we are providing the best education possible to our students? As an educator, I would regret if I did not take the opportunity to advocate slightly for a little bit more sustainability. So I will give a very brief lecture here about the need to address climate change on our college campuses and in the University of Wisconsin system. I find it interesting that we employ many of the scientists who have done research on climate change, who understand that climate change is caused by human behaviors and kind of our daily living, as well as they understand the impacts that climate change is having on individuals. But I don't want to lecture too much, so I'll just provide one brief example. We're often told in sustainability that selling it as doom and gloom will not help us, and that if you pitch it as the right thing to do or our moral responsibility, that it also might not be as effective. So I'm going to give you a brief summary of the business case for sustainability, and I'll provide you an example with my personal life. I bought a home in River Falls this last summer, June of 2018, and I'm currently going through the process of getting solar installed on my roof. In 10 years, I will not have an electric bill. So for the next 10 years, I will continue to pay probably equivalent to what I'm paying right now every single month, but after 10 years, I will not have that bill. So when we look at the University of Wisconsin system and all of our campuses, I would encourage you to think more long-term about how are we actually going to sustain our colleges to be viable options for students long-term. I will finish with a round of thank yous. First, I would like to thank my parents who are here today. They drove up from Green Bay this morning and will drive back today. Similarly, they drove over to UW River Falls in November for a campus award, so they spent 4 hours driving to River Falls, sat through an hour ceremony, and then drove 4 hours back. I don't know that there are many parents in the world that would spend 8 hours in a car for a 1-hour ceremony, and I am incredibly thankful for everything they have done to support me. They never forced me or any of my siblings to pursue any sort of career. They never really forced us one way or the other, but all 5 of my siblings and myself have college degrees, a few of us also having master's degrees. So I think that's a testament to kind of the value of education that they have instilled in me. I'd also like to thank my husband, Eric, who could not be here today due to work commitments. He supports me on a daily basis, often putting up with quite a few extra hours and various projects, and I come home and tell him about the new committee I'm on or the new something that I'm doing, and he just kind of is like, all right, we'll make it work. So I appreciate all of his support that he gives me. I would like to thank my coworkers and the UWF administrative team. I have some amazing coworkers. My position really does pull me in many, many directions. When things are busier on the custodial side of things, the sustainability students that volunteer in the office are always willing to pitch in and do extra help. When things are busy on committees or shared governance or sustainability or any of those other ones, the custodial team makes sure that everything continues moving forward. So I'm very fortunate to have all of their support, and this award really is a testament to all of the support that happens across our campus. I would like to thank the selection committee. I know how much time goes into a process like this and reviewing applications and how hard of a decision it is, and often those committees come on top of your already full-time jobs, so thank you for all of the time you put into that. And in general, I would just like to thank all of you. The UW system is an amazing place to work, and I'm very proud of the quality education that we provide to our students, so thank you all for helping make that possible.
Our third award today goes to a program whose success is exemplary. This year's program award winner is UW Parkside's Library. Currently directed by Anna Stoddard, the UW Parkside Library creates a welcoming and enriching environment to support academic excellence and student success. The library has been an essential part of UW Parkside's mission in improving campus graduation rates to historic levels. Over 80% of students at UW Parkside are commuters, first generation, Pell eligible, and are working off campus. Getting students to the library means getting them the space they need in their busy lives to focus on their studies. Library staff are doing just that. In the last 3 years, visits to the library have increased 13%. Average visits per student are up 15%, and study room reservations have grown 18%. Through observing best practices and focusing on demonstrated student needs, library staff have added individual study spaces, presentation spaces, modern and accessible furniture, and technology-equipped rooms. The library has also recently opened the Gooderston Family Literacy Lab to support teacher development programs and serve as a childhood literacy resource. The UW Parkside Library received 2 National Endowment of the Arts Big Read grants, allowing it to promote literacy for the people of all ages. In 2015, for its work on the first Big Read, the library received 1 Gold Award and 2 Silver Awards from the Council for the Advancement and Support of Education. A few years later, in 2017 and 18, the library was recognized again, this time with the Wisconsin Library Association Library of the Year Award. Librarians and library staff have authored conference presentations or contributed to scholarly publications over the last several years. And in the nomination materials, UW Parkside's provost described the UW Parkside Library as, I quote, "the beating heart of our academic community," unquote. It's with great pride that I present this year's Academic Staff Excellence Award to the UW Parkside Library, represented today by Director Anna Stoddard. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for the distinction given to our library staff. I'd like to point out the 6 of them attending today while the rest of them hold down the fort at Parkside. I have Laura Brisky, Paige Barretto, Suliva Vang, Dina Kay, Becca Robinold, and Melissa Olson. So if you'd like to see librarians in action, I would invite you to come down to Parkside and see our library. And of course, if you see the university, you'll find a beautiful campus, great students, illustrious faculty and staff. And if you come in the spring or fall, you're going to see geese. That's right, I'm talking to the Board of Regents about Canada geese, because 50 years ago, when the university was looking for its mascot, one of the suggestions was the Canada goose. Now, I wouldn't trade Ranger Bear for anything, but I understand why that thing was suggested, because those geese are everywhere. Everywhere you'd expect one to be, everywhere you wouldn't expect one to be, and they're audacious given their size. So, in the email about the logistics of this day, I was told that the Regents would like to hear my perspectives on what it takes to be an outstanding academic staff program. And I'd have to state the obvious that these librarians, all of our librarians, are excellent. They're talented, they're well prepared, many of them by graduate programs in the UW system. They're student-centered and tech-savvy, they're generous, they're hardworking. But they're also everywhere that you would and wouldn't expect a librarian to be, and they're audacious given their size. By everywhere, I mean we fulfill our library tasks, but we've also stepped out to make university goals our own. We think about the library's role in retention and recruitment, in serving non-traditional populations and new majors. We make it our business to think about the space, services, technologies that our specific students need with their lives and their challenges. Librarians are everywhere also in terms of outreach. We've been fortunate enough to receive those 2 Big Read grants, and we've partnered with local libraries when they've received the grants. Those events take us into the community, to local festivals, to talking to businesses about sponsorships, to book discussions in restaurants and tattoo shops and museums and craft breweries. In fact, a local brewery creates beers named for our Big Reads, and so we have enthusiastic participants who otherwise wouldn't know anything about Parkside or the library coming to our events just because of that. Like our geese, the library staff is not just into everything, but they're also audacious. For instance, I'm not sure if you realize this, but every year when technology changes, things like electronic resource delivery systems change, and it affects everything we do. But these librarians are not afraid of change. In fact, they sort of surf the wave of change. They're asking, what if we did this? What if we look into that? And that attitude is enormously advantageous, especially then when change sort of comes from left field and you don't expect it. Those change skills transfer, and that's really very helpful. Also, everyone on staff feels free to express whatever crosses their mind. And by that I mean whatever crosses their minds. That sometimes in a staff meeting I sit there with a poker face and I think, that is never going to work. And so many times I've actually had to eat those unspoken words because it has worked. They audaciously bring up things that they've observed, services, and events that they would like to see happen because they are there on the front lines and they see our students. And with a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit, we try that, and either we succeed or we know why we fail, and then we try again. I chalk all of this up to staff culture. I trust them, they trust each other. We can count on each other to help, to jump in when things happen, to cover an emergency shift, to take that new initiative. And I feel like those good relationships make so much possible. But nothing would be possible if we didn't work at a university that also embraced this culture. UW-Parkside is also into everything and audacious given its size. It's a place that strives to be as relevant and responsible and responsive as possible, and I feel like that approach really is successful. So I'm grateful to the Provost, to the Chancellor for nominating our program among the many great ones at Parkside, grateful to the Selection Committee for choosing us among what I'm sure are hundreds of deserving departments across the UW system. Grateful to the Board of Regents for sponsoring this award, but also for all you do to make our university system and our state great. Thank you so much.
It's always inspiring to hear the extraordinary dedication of the people on our campuses and the work that they do. And all of our award winners sort of embrace that notion of surfing the wave of change, in my opinion at least. Clearly well-earned recognitions. Let's give them another well-deserved round of applause. We're going to continue to endeavor on to item 12, which is our presentation and discussion on UW-Milwaukee's NCAA Division I athletics, their annual report. For the benefit of our new colleagues, since 2012, the Board of Regents has called for UW institutions that participate in NCAA Division I athletics to annually provide updates to the board regarding academic, fiscal, and compliance matters. UW's system has 3 institutions with Division I NCAA athletic programs: UW-Madison, UW-Green Bay, and UW-Milwaukee. Today we'll hear from the Panther Nation, and leading us with that presentation will be Athletic Director Amanda Braun. First to introduce her will be the always nimble Chancellor Mark Money.
Thank you, Regent Vice President Peterson. Good morning, Board of Regents. I'd like to briefly comment on our athletics and introduce our Athletic Director Amanda Braun. Athletics, I think as you've read in the report for the work today, is vitally important to UWM. It's important on several different fronts. We, as a D1 team, set of teams, 15 of them, have a very high bar of excellence, and that excellence is manifested in a number of different areas. When we talk about athletics, it's about student athletes. I'm really proud of that. They're students first, and you'll hear that, and the reinforcement of what information is in your report. What the athletics bring to us, in particular in this community, is visibility. It's critically important that we have that in this region and the state. We share with UW-Green Bay the Horizon League representation in the state, and we have a strong record of both academic and athletic success. Our students are leaders in the classroom and on the field. Interestingly, in my experience, having been here for some time, I see our alumni as role models in classes, but also in the community, in the futures that they have so strongly. It's remarkable how many of them have just gone on to such great careers. In the context of introducing Amanda Braun, I'm delighted to be able to share with you what she has been able to do in terms of many different areas of stability. They include in our budget, they include the academic accomplishments, and especially in the athletics side of things. Amanda's in her 7th year as our athletic director, and I'm happy to have her on board and for her to be able to present today the report in more detail. Amanda?
Thank you, Chancellor Money, for that introduction, for your leadership and guidance as the athletic director. It's hard to believe it's been over 6 years now. I do want to give a shout out to Elena Colts from Green Bay. Many of you don't know, I spent almost 7 years at University of Wisconsin Green Bay, and I actually got to work with Elena. So everything that was said about her today, times 10. She's amazing. So thank you, Elena. Congratulations to you. So there's always a piece of Green Bay in my heart. I don't know where Chancellor Miller is, but we still do like to beat up on the Phoenix as often as we possibly can, even though I do have a piece of them in my heart. Thank you all for having me again here this year. It's always a pleasure, and one of the pleasures of preparing is it's a sign that summer is nearly here for us, right? At least the weather's is trying to show us some summer. So proud to share with you that 18-19 was another really successful year for Panther student athletes, coaches, and staff, and want to go through a few things with you today, highlighting that. First, as I do each year, I want to start with our purpose statement, our core values, and our diversity and inclusion statement. These aren't just words for us that are saved in a document. We actually talk about these often and work hard to live them with our student athletes and our staff. And they're prominently displayed throughout our department, in our training facilities, in our offices, and certainly on our website. So with our core values, given our purpose and our core values, 4 important ways that Panther Athletics positively contributes to our university is through our academic and athletics achievements, our campus and community engagement, and the impact that our athletics program can have on our university through visibility and branding, not just locally, but also regionally and nationally. So to start with the really good stuff, academic excellence here. For the 18-19 year, our 300 student athletes continued the academic success of previous years by achieving a collective 3.2 or better GPA in both fall and spring semesters, bringing to 38, this is a dated slide, we just got the data this week, 38 consecutive semesters of a 3.0 or higher GPA. And our student athletes have recently raised that bar. It's now 9 semesters in a row where they've achieved a 3.2 or better collectively, which is just amazing when you think about how much time we require of them outside of the classroom. In your report, you'll see our graduation data, and most recent graduation success rate is 92% for our student athletes. And to put that in context, 5 years ago that number was 71%. And our student athlete federal graduation rate is 75%, and 5 years ago that was 62%. So really proud of the hard work and commitment of our student athletes, and our coaches also. They're very intentional about recruiting student athletes. They're serious about getting an education, so a real point of pride for us. Let's see. This slide is the past 5 years, highlights our competitive success that we've had. And you can see sustained high level of success within our league. Really proud of that. Winning team and individual championships is always the goal. But we also track on top 3 finishes. For us, that's an important metric indicating the competitiveness that we're competing for championships. If we're in that top 3, that means what I talk about is, at the end of the season, we're still participating in competitions that really mean something, that matter, that the students are in the hunt and enjoying their experience. It's obviously very important for the success of our programs as well. So this past year, our teams and individual student athletes continued to achieve at a high level, with 9 of our 15 teams finishing in the top 3 in the Horizon League. And a few highlights you can see on the slide. Women's soccer claimed their 4th straight regular season title and advanced to the NCAA tournament. Our women's cross country, for the first time in 25 years, won the league title. That was an exciting moment. Both our men's and women's track and field teams finished 3rd in the indoor championship, and they also both finished 2nd just a few weeks ago in the outdoor championship. And then wrapping up our year this year, baseball finished 2nd in the regular season, and then just short of winning the championship in the tournament, we were a runner-up. So proud of all that our student athletes do, and in particular how they represent us with class in competition throughout the year. So an annual point of pride for our athletics department is the way in which our student athletes, coaches, and staff engage with the campus and the Milwaukee community. This past year, Panther student athletes and staff participated in over 2,500 hours campus and community service and more than 50 campus engagement activities with a focus on engaging with our students. Important also to our engagement efforts are community partnerships in support of our student athletes. We've established many important partnerships with organizations and facilities in the greater Milwaukee area. I've listed here just a few, but for example, our men's basketball program, as many of you know, play our games downtown at UW-M Panther Arena, and that's a partnership with the Wisconsin Center District that we're able to do that. It seems like we've been talking about this forever, but baseball next season, we'll finally be playing games down at Ballpark Commons at Routine Field. We're really, really excited about that. Grateful to Rock Ventures and Mike Zimmerman for that partnership. And I know our coach is thrilled. It sounds like he's down there every week or so checking out the progress. I was there last week. took some pictures, and this just so happened this week I was in Indianapolis at Horizon League meetings, and so I was able to show some of the ADs the progress at our baseball stadium, which I know if we have a second place finish playing at Henry Aaron Field, the sky's the limit when we get into that facility, because Mike's not doing that halfway, so it'll be a lot of fun. Proud, excited for them. I know Scott Duffick's been waiting a long time. He's our head coach. He is just thrilled. So our partnerships also are our tennis programs, track and field, swimming and diving programs. We utilize facilities off campus. And one of the things that's really great about Milwaukee is we can recruit wonderful people here, you know, and this beautiful campus located in this great part of the city. What's challenging is trying to get the facilities that you need for a Division I program. So we couldn't do what we do with our student athletes without our community partnerships that we rely on and those really strong relationships. So as important as our efforts to engage with our campus and community, we also understand that elevating the brand and visibility of the university through a strong Division I athletics program can be very, very impactful. This year, our department is being honored by the National Association of Collegiate Marketing Administrators as a recipient of the Multi-Platform Brand Campaign Award. 2 years ago, we initiated a brand campaign to raise our visibility and tell our story. We first engaged market research to better understand our target market and how we can engage better with campus and community, and then took what we learned and created strategic messaging and graphic content. So you can see on the slide here just a few examples. You can also tell we went all in on highlighting that Milwaukee advantage that we think we have, and we expanded our use of the United We Roar slogan. So these images, just a few where we used them, were social media, bus wraps, website ads, and this one was our favorite. This was for 4 months on a billboard on southbound I-43, so those of you that travel around Milwaukee, hopefully you get a chance to see this. That was really fun for us to have that up in such a prominent place. So the feedback on this campaign has been really positive. It's created a recognizable identity for our programs. I think has generated even more pride for our student athletes. So we'll continue for the upcoming year with this same campaign, excited about the brand and visibility that it's providing for us, and also more effectively for our university also. So that's what I have for you today. I appreciate your time, and as always, love coming here to talk with you about the great things we're doing, but would open it up for questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Athletic Director Braun, and congratulations on some of your metrics moving north and,
Thank you.
And new facilities. I know that's very exciting for all of you. Questions from the Regents for Athletic Director Braun? Regent Jones.
Amanda, I noticed in the financial section that, I may not describe this correctly, but there's a $10 million net operating loss that carry forward that you manage. And I'm just kind of wondering out loud, is that really ever going to be paid off? Or should we think of a different way to deal with that debt?
Yeah, that's a question that's probably above my head, but we're certainly intent upon trying to chip away at it. You know, I understand it came over a long period of time, and it will take a long period of time to pay that down, certainly.
Other questions for Athletic Director Braun? Well, hearing none, again, congratulations. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you. Have a wonderful summer.
All right, moving on. Our next item, item 13, is review and approval of the Board of Regents' regular meeting schedule. So with that, a draft 2020 meeting schedule is in all of our packets. Resolution 213 would adopt that schedule. I have a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Very good. Our schedule is approved. Well, so as Regent Atwell pointed out, you know, perhaps the most rewarding aspect of serving as a Board of Regents is recognizing our academic staff for their performance. But a close second to that is recognizing the people that have served on this board with us. With that, Ryan is here. It's my honor and privilege to have been asked by Ryan, my friend, to recognize him for his service on the board. In the short time we've gotten to know Ryan, he's demonstrated time and again many capabilities and maturity. When I sat down to prepare some thoughts, several observations immediately came to mind, so in no particular order, I'd like to share those with you. First, I think we as a board have found Ryan to be highly motivated. Ryan served as state chairman of the Wisconsin Federation of College Republicans. He's also been active in student government leadership. In addition to these pursuits, Ryan is a well-known volunteer in Eau Claire and a member of the Delta Tau fraternity. This type of proactive involvement on his campus and in his community is representative of his character. He's highly motivated to actively participate and make a real difference, which I think we all find highly admirable. Next, Ryan's dedicated. Pursuing a double major in finance and political science is grueling and it requires perseverance. Serving as a student regent, working part-time, and volunteering only compounds this challenge. Despite his busy schedule, I've had multiple regent-related phone calls and conversations with Ryan where he reached out to seek answers or seek guidance on policy matters late into the evening. He'd always start by apologizing for calling me after work hours. And one particular call stands out. I hope you recall this. He calls me about 10 o'clock at night to discuss the UW System Administrative Hiring Work Group and our final recommendations. The content of the conversation wasn't important. What was notable was that I was on the West Coast speaking at a conference in Palm Springs, and with that, I was 2 hours behind in time difference. So Ryan, Regent Ring, is calling me at midnight Eau Claire time to get some questions answered the day before our following meeting. That, in my opinion, folks, is pretty dedicated. It's also pretty delusional, but you get the picture. So another concept that Ryan has mastered with our help is the value of networking. During my time on the board, we've seen some very impressive student regents come before us. Graduates like Katie Pointer, who's enjoyed a great career in DC, Nick Harsey, who joined my company, TDS, after graduation, James Langness, who's working for our former colleague and friend, Brian Stile, in Congress. All of these individuals and several others are signing examples of student regents who've worked hard and translated that work ethic into something more while on this board. So Olivia, our newest student regent, this bodes well for you. In Ryan's case, well, he's a little bit of an overachiever. I think he wanted to prove that he could do just a little bit more than his predecessors. You see, in his first year on the board, he pursued and got a summer internship with former Regent President Bailing at his law firm. He did a terrific job for John, and that became well known in Regent circles. In his second year on the board, Ryan mentioned he wanted to work for a year or two before pursuing a degree in law at UW-Madison. So before I even get the chance to consider offering something to him in Madison, he tells me he's super pumped to accept a full-time position working for Regent Jason Plant at his commercial construction firm, Market Johnson, starting immediately after graduation. And I believe you started last Monday, and I believe you learned a very important wardrobe lesson. Do not wear ties to construction firms on your first day. All kidding aside, I believe Ryan has become a networking master. We couldn't be happier for you, making the most of your college experience, and I can assure you Ryan has had fun while he's been advancing himself in his career. It's a remarkable accomplishment at this young age, and you should absolutely be celebrated for that. Finally, Ryan is driven to succeed. He succeeded as a big contributor on this board. He's succeeded in his internships. He's succeeded in graduating on time and serving in his community of Eau Claire. But most importantly, beyond these accolades of getting hired right out of school, having the drive and passion to pursue law school down the road, what's so impressive to me, and I'm glad your parents are here to see that you fooled us all, just kidding. What's so impressive to me as we've gotten to know you over these last 2 years is that you're a first-generation college student for your family. And while college is by no means the path to everybody's success and happiness, in your case, I believe your collegiate experiences have shaped and defined you into the leader that sits before us today. So as you look back on these last 4 years and the 2 with us, let that be your definition of success. Ryan, your graduation demonstrates the power of family, the strength of grit and determination to overcome obstacles, and in my mind, embodies the Wisconsin idea in its best form. So congratulations, pal, and best wishes, Ryan, Regent Emeritus. We couldn't be more proud of your success, your achievements, and the dedication you demonstrated as a member of this board. So it would be totally unfitting if Ryan didn't get a few whereases. So let me take the time to deliver our Board of Regents resolution of appreciation while Ryan's making his way up here. Whereas Ryan Ring has served as a dedicated student representative on the University of Wisconsin Board of Regents from May 2017 to May 2019. And whereas Ryan offered a valuable perspective as a member of the Committee on Student Discipline and Other Student Appeals, and whereas Ryan thoughtfully served as a member of both the Education Committee and the Capital Planning and Budget Committee, through which he demonstrated a commitment to improving the educational experience for students, and whereas Ryan served on the Diversity Awards Committee, working to publicly honor and reward the commitment of outstanding UW educators who support student success, and whereas Ryan graduated with a bachelor's degree in finance and political science from UW-Eau Claire, where he was active in student government, a campus ambassador, and a member of the Delta Tau fraternity. And whereas Ryan served on the UW-Eau Claire Student Senate for 2 years, as well as many commissions, committees, including finance, information technology, intergovernmental affairs, student office sustainability. Be it therefore resolved that the Board of Regents of the University of Wisconsin commends Ryan Ring for his excellent service on behalf of the UW system and the citizens of Wisconsin, and we wish him every success in the future.
All righty, it's good to be back. Well, thank you, Drew, for those kind words. I've never really given a farewell speech before, so I don't really have any formal remarks. So I'll be speaking mostly from the heart today. I really want to start by expressing my gratitude to everyone who's been on this incredible journey with me these past 2 years. First, to Governor Walker for giving me, a first-generation college student, this tremendous opportunity, and for his confidence in me. To the UW system staff, I'm so incredibly proud of the work you do for the UW system and for the over 170,000 students across the state. I feel honored and privileged to know you all, and I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for your constant hard work and dedication to the students and for everything you do and will continue to do for this great university system. To the chancellors and provosts, your leadership and dedication to each one of your institutions and to the students is remarkable. Thank you for the respect you showed me as a 20-year-old serving on the board. I cannot say enough about each and every one of you. I'm immensely proud to have a fantastic group of chancellors and provosts leading our institutions across the system. And to my Regent colleagues, it's been an absolute privilege for me to get to know each and every one of you of these past 2 years. Thank you for inspiring me to work hard at everything I do and for being so kind to a college kid. You all listened to what I had to say and respected my opinions. I'm forever grateful that I got to know you all. Even though my time with you on this board has ended, I really hope we all stay connected in the future. And lastly, to my parents who took off work today to be with me, thank you so much for everything. I would not have made it these past 4 years if it weren't for your constant encouragement and support. I love you both dearly. All right, now that I got those out of the way, I want to share a few thoughts with you from my time on the board. It's bittersweet to be back in Milwaukee at this campus to end my tenure, exactly where it all started for me. I remember sitting next to Regent Emeritus Farrow and thinking to myself how cool it was to be with the former Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin. I also heard that morning, and I cannot say for certain if this was true or not, but I heard that I was strategically placed next to her because she sometimes needed help with her iPad and iPhone during the meeting. So who better to help than a college kid, right? But in all seriousness, I remember thinking to myself as I sat and listened to the speakers that day, how being on the board would change my life. And it without question has done just that. You see, I thought I had already made it in life. I was the first one in my family to go to a four-year institution. I really never thought it was possible until I received my acceptance letter from UW-Eau Claire in December of 2014. I will never forget that feeling I felt when I opened that letter and how excited I was. It was a tremendous accomplishment for me. But I think what really helped me start on this journey was my young, eager self. A few weeks after I got my acceptance letter from UW-Eau Claire, I emailed the student body president at the time and told him I wanted to be a part of student government, which usually you don't do until after you register for classes. But I guess I was just different. But little did I know that that email would set me on a path of shared governance, which I've come to immensely value. My freshman year, I really tried to embrace the power of "and," which Chancellor Schmidt does a great job at promoting. But I really look back at that moment, and if I never joined student government and got involved on campus, I probably would not be speaking with you today. These past 2 years have been the most rewarding in my life. I was able to work on the UW System's teacher initiative with Regent Emeritus Milner and the Education Committee. Being a part of the board, I was able to make sure tuition remained affordable for students like me. As a board, we were able to address important issues like sexual harassment on campus. As a board, we were able to keep the Wisconsin idea alive by restructuring the UW system. I will always be proud of the work we have done together these past 2 years. That's why I wrote an editorial a few weeks ago about how tremendous our UW system is, especially for the citizens of Wisconsin. I talked about how through my time at UW-Eau Claire, I was able to use software such as the Bloomberg Terminal, the actual research software that Wall Street analysts use in order to conduct research and analyze companies to make informative investment decisions for one of my classes. But there are countless stories across the system like mine. But where else in the state can you go to get hands-on and real-life experiences like these besides the UW system? But the point I made in my letter was that in order to continue these positive advancements and to conduct world-class research for the benefit of Wisconsin's future, there must be a continued investment in the UW system. As a recent finance graduate, I learned that in order to grow your assets, in this case the UW system, you have to invest more. For if you don't, your assets could remain stagnant or soon could not be performing the way you want them to. That's how I see Wisconsin's economic engine. Heck, I can guarantee that any investor would be willing to invest more when their return on investment is 23-1. I'm not sure what the future holds for me, but I'm certain that the Wisconsin idea and the UW system will continue to change lives for students and Wisconsin residents. That's why I will never stop being a relentless advocate for the UW system. How fortunate am I to have been a part of this great institution, to have known such great people, and to play a small part in Wisconsin's future success, which makes saying farewell so hard. I will miss everyone dearly, and I will miss being a part of this great UW System Board of Regents. Thank you for listening. God bless you all, and let's keep working for Wisconsin and the UW system.
Congratulations again, Ryan. I have also taught you the benefits of retail politics. At this point, we're going to move to item 15, the annual election of officers to the board. I've asked Regent Whitburn, as our longest-serving member of this board, to preside during the presidential election. And with that, I'll invite Regent Whitburn forward.
Thank you very much, Regent Peterson. Our bylaws call for us to come together in this June meeting each year to elect a regent president and a regent vice president to serve for a one-year term beginning immediately after the meeting. In recent years, we have done this by way of a slate. If we have competition for either of the positions, we will do them individually. If we have no competition, we will elect our officers by way of a voice vote. If we have competition, we will use a ballot. Does anyone have any questions concerning the process that we are going to use? I understand Regent Jones would like to make a nomination.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Regent Whitburn. I'd like to make a two-part motion. The first part is to nominate Mr. Michael Greavy to serve as the Vice President of the UW System Board of Regents for a one-year term. I've known Mike both professionally and personally for over 20 years. He is an accomplished lawyer, a trusted business advisor, and most importantly, a person of unimpeachable integrity. He has both the experience and the temperament to excel in this leadership role. The second part of this motion is to nominate Mr. Drew Peterson to serve as president of the UW System Board of Regents for a one-year term. Most of you have been able to witness firsthand Drew's considerable skill set as he served as Vice President of the Board of Regents over the last 2 years. Both in public and behind the scenes, he has conducted himself both professionally and personally. No doubt in my mind, he has both the intellect and the wisdom to serve in this important role. This concludes my motion.
My sense is that Regent Klein would like to second these nominations.
Thank you, Regent Whitburn. It's my honor to second the motion made by Regent Jones. Both of these gentlemen are strong leaders who have contributed countless hours to tirelessly ensure that our oversight function is fully carried out. Both contribute to the quality of our deliberations, and both men are of high integrity. All of us on the Board of Regents appreciated so very much the focus and steady leadership that Regent Greavy brought to our Audit Committee, especially in this last year. He has tirelessly handled and proactively handled our policies, procedures, and minimized our risks for our entire system in a job very well done. Vice President Peterson is a strong and able leader. His abiding support for the UW system is unparalleled. He thinks globally, his advocacy is strong, and when he speaks, we are always proud of what he says on our behalf. So, both men are fiduciaries in the true sense of the word. I second the motion.
Are there additional nominees for either president or vice president of the University of Wisconsin Board of Regents? Hearing no additional nominations, the chair would appreciate a motion for a unanimous ballot electing Drew Peterson, President of the Regents, Michael M. Greavy, Vice President.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let's congratulate our new officers. We have other officers of the board to elect on this occasion. The incumbents are as follows. Jessica Lathrop is our corporate secretary of the board. Sandra Cleveland is the assistant secretary, as is Megan Wesley, also assistant secretary. Sean Nelson is our trust officer, and Quinn Williams is our assistant trust officer. The incumbents are prepared to serve this board another year. Are there additional nominations for any of these positions? If not, the chair would appreciate a motion electing all of these additional officers to our board.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let's congratulate these officers as well.
Thank you, everyone. We will now move on to our final item of the day, our resolution of appreciation for the UW-Milwaukee, and to deliver that resolution is my friend, Regent Mike Jones.
Thank you, Regent President, for the first time. Resolution of appreciation, UW-Milwaukee. Whereas the members of the Board of Regents are pleased to recognize the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee as the official host campus for the board's June 2019 meeting, and the board is grateful for the generous hospitality extended by Chancellor Mark Money and the entire Panther community. And whereas the board appreciated hearing Mark Money's presentation, meeting Wisconsin's needs through collaboration, and applauds UWM's leadership role in the system-wide freshwater collaborative. Whereas the Business and Finance Committee members learned from Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administrative Affairs, Robin Van Harpen, about UWM's path to financial and administrative excellence. And whereas the members of the Research, Economic Development, and Innovation Committee heard a presentation about inclusive and innovative approaches to teaching and learning by a panel of UWM students who focused on preparing students like themselves for jobs of the future in an increasingly diverse marketplace. And whereas the Capital Planning and Budget Committee received a closer look at the university's capital building program in the presentation, UWM Capital Planning, the Long Game. Whereas the Education Committee thanks Provost Johannes Britz for his presentation that delved into what makes UW-Milwaukee, quote, an outstanding learning environment for all students. And whereas the board was delighted to hear this morning from Alyssa Molinsky, a UW-Milwaukee early childhood education student featured in this month's Student Spotlight. And whereas board members were pleased to get a closer look at the Lubar Entrepreneurship Center and the UWM Welcome Center, which celebrated its grand opening last month and is already an invaluable new addition to the university. Be it therefore resolved that the Board of Regents hereby thanks UW-Milwaukee for its in-depth presentations, forward-looking spirit, and its many contributions to the UW system and to the state of Wisconsin.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to host the Board of Regents every June. It's a tradition that we have. Summer can now begin. So very much appreciated. You've heard from the resolution. Thank you, Regent Jones. And thank you all, Regents, for expressing your appreciation. I just wanted to make a very brief comment. We're unusual in the UW system to have had such longevity with the person who coordinates all our efforts for this, and it's Ms. Lynn Wilk. And she's done this now for 20 years in terms of all the logistics, all the pieces that have to come together, and behind every single one of those events that you heard about in the resolution, behind the overall coordination that's required, there are thousands of details. It's just tremendous. Once one meeting is over, the next one planning begins. So let's hear it for Lynn. Lynn is standing back there. Thank you very much. Thank you, Regent President Peterson.
Thank you, Chancellor Mone. That concludes our business for today. I do personally want to just thank all of the regents to have the confidence in both myself and Regent Grebe. We will do our level best to ensure that this board moves forward in an appropriate manner. And with that, I'll seek a motion to adjourn. Second? We stand adjourned.